50s and 60s, a terrifying legend began to creep through the hearts of teenagers across America. It was the tale of the Hook, a deranged killer who haunted the dark corners of lovers' lanes, lurking just beyond the reach of those who thought they were safe. The story began with a seemingly innocent couple parked in their car under the stars, the air thick with the heat of young love. But what they didn't know was that something far darker was watching them, something that would tear their world apart in an instant. The killer was known as Hookman, a brutal murderer with a horrifying prosthetic hand, a jagged iron hook that replaced the severed remains of his hand. He'd escaped from a nearby mental asylum, and his mind, twisted by years of confinement, craved only one thing: blood. His victims, unsuspecting and vulnerable, were targeted with chilling precision as the couple sat in their car, oblivious to the danger lurking nearby. The sound of scratching began, a slow, deliberate drag of something sharp, his hook scraping against the side of the vehicle. Terrified, the couple heard a frantic radio report warning of a crazed killer on the loose. As the girls screamed in horror, the boyfriend frantically tried to start the car, but the engine wouldn't turn over. It was too late. When they finally managed to drive away, they found a bloodied hook dangling from the door handle, proof that the killer had been right behind them, his twisted laughter lingering in the night. Some say the story is just a myth, but the fear that still grips those who hear it suggests that the Hook was not just a tale, but a nightmare that lives on. The tragic death of James Dean in 1955 left behind more than just a mournful legacy. It unleashed a malevolent curse tied to his iconic Porsche 550 Spider, nicknamed Metal Bastard. The car, which Dean was driving when he met his untimely death, became the focus of a chilling urban legend. The story goes that anyone who took a piece of the wreckage from Little Bastard was doomed to suffer a horrific fate, usually in a car accident of their own. Mechanics, fans, and even curious onlookers who dared to claim parts of the car, an engine, a tire, a seat, found themselves drawn into a web of death and destruction. One by one, those who tampered with the wreck met violent ends, often in accidents eerily similar to Dean's. The curse didn't stop there. The wreckage itself seemed to carry an unrelenting evil. The car, after being sold and resold, was involved in a series of deadly accidents, claiming the lives of those who came too close. In 1959, the car mysteriously vanished from a garage in Los Angeles, further adding to its legend. Some believe it disappeared entirely, as though it had been swallowed by the earth, or worse, taken by a force that would never let it rest. The little bastard seemed to be a malevolent entity, a dark force that claimed anyone unfortunate enough to come into contact with it. The story of the cursed Porsche lives on, a reminder that some tragedies do not simply fade with time. They become warnings, lingering in the shadows, waiting to claim the next victim. If you ever encounter Little Bastard, don't touch it. The curse is waiting. The Devil's Chair is a chilling urban legend, one that has haunted the minds of many who dared to speak its name in the desolate corners of abandoned cemeteries. Hidden in plain sight sits an eerie monument, an ominous, weathered chair, its stone surface cold and lifeless. But beware, this is no ordinary chair. It is cursed. Locals whisper that the chair is the resting place of a tormented soul, forever bound to its seat. Those who sit in it are doomed to be visited by dark, malevolent forces from beyond the grave. Some say the chair absorbs their life force, leaving them weak and hollow, while others claim they are plagued by nightmarish visions of the damned. Several have vanished without a trace after sitting in it, their bodies found twisted and unrecognizable, as if some unseen force had pulled their very essence into the chair itself. But the legend doesn't end there. It is said that on moonless nights, the chair becomes alive with a sinister presence, its cold stone heated by an unnatural energy. Those foolish enough to touch it report hearing faint whispers, the soft, agonizing screams of souls trapped in eternal torment. The devil's chair is not just a relic, it's a warning. Never sit in it, never challenge it, for some curses are not meant to be broken.
Late one stormy night, a teenage babysitter named Sarah sat alone in the darkened house, listening to the quiet breaths of the children sleeping upstairs. The air was thick with silence, only broken by occasional creaks echoing through the empty hallways. Suddenly, the phone rang, slicing through the silence like a knife. She jumped, her heart pounding as she answered. A low, gravelly voice whispered, "Have you checked the children?" Startled, Sarah shook off the unease, assuming it was a prank call. But the phone rang again, the same voice repeating, chillingly deliberate, "Have you checked the children?" An icy dread seeped into her bones. She slammed the phone down, but the relentless calls persisted, each one taunting her, each one making her feel more trapped, more exposed. Finally, she dialed the police, and they promised to trace the next call. Moments later, the phone rang. She picked up, and the whisper came again, "Check the children." The line clicked. Then the police came through urgently. "Get out of the house. The call is coming from inside." A scream caught in her throat as she bolted for the door, but a shadow loomed at the top of the stairs, watching. In that moment, Sarah realized she wasn't alone. The door creaked open just an inch, her only escape blocked by the flickering figure that descended, step by slow, ominous step. Dense, mist-laden forests of North America, an unsettling figure roams. Bigfoot, or as the natives call him, Sasquatch. Towering at nearly 8 feet tall, this monstrous ape-like creature lurks in the shadows, a spectre of nature's wildest secrets. centuries, stories of his terrifying encounters have spread, each tale more harrowing than the last. Hunters, campers, and wanderers alike speak of colossal footprints embedded in the earth, prints so massive no human could leave them. The chilling evidence, cast in mud and shadow, hints at something far beyond human. But Bigfoot isn't just a rumour in these parts. On cold, silent nights, the forest transforms. The usual hum of wildlife fades, replaced by an eerie silence, as though the trees themselves are holding their breath. Then, through the darkness, comes a low, guttural howl, a sound so deep and raw it seems to pierce through the soul, the unmistakable call of Sasquatch. His presence is felt before he's ever seen, a heavy, brooding shadow in the night, stalking, watching, waiting. Those unlucky enough to catch a glimpse report a creature cloaked in thick, matted fur, eyes glinting with a primal intelligence, yet filled with an unsettling, almost human understanding. His hulking frame moves with unnerving agility, slipping between trees like a ghost, his piercing gaze locking with his prey before vanishing into the underbrush. As he disappears, a foul, musky odour lingers, a reminder that Bigfoot was there, a silent warning for anyone daring enough to tread deeper. Some say he's a guardian of the wilderness, others a harbinger of doom, but all agree Bigfoot is no myth, and in the dark heart of the forest he waits, forever watching, his silent footfalls a deadly promise to those who venture too close to the wild. In the heart of Iowa City's Oakland Cemetery stands a figure cloaked in darkness and mystery, the Black Angel, a towering bronze statue that looms over the grave of Teresa Feldvert. Erected in mourning, the angel's darkened form and unsettling gaze quickly became the source of fearful whispers. Legend says she is cursed, a silent harbinger of death, watching and waiting for those who dare to defy her silent warning. By day, the statue is imposing, her massive wings stretching wide, casting shadows over the graves below. But as night falls, her presence shifts from solemn to sinister. Those who have dared to visit her after dark claim to feel an intense, bone-chilling cold radiate from the statue, as if death itself were reaching out. They say that anyone who dares touch the angel at midnight will suffer misfortune, illness, or worse, death within days. Some claim to have seen her eyes glow faintly, an unnatural, haunting light that pierces through the fog, as if the angel herself is peering into the souls of those nearby. A few witnesses swear that her wings have moved, rustling slightly, and her hands seem to reach out, fingers stiff yet desperate, as if she longs to pull the living into her cold, stone embrace. Teenagers once dared to kiss the feet of the angel, testing her rumoured curse, but tragedy followed. Accidents, inexplicable illnesses, and even untimely deaths plagued those who tried to defy her legend. Her presence, they say, is more than mere stone. It is a shadow of sorrow and vengeance, eternally bound to the cemetery. Today, locals avoid the Black Angel at night, believing she still harbours a dark power, and if you stand before her, feeling her hollow gaze settle upon you, remember, her curse awaits anyone brave or foolish enough to challenge her. 2016, a strange and unsettling phenomenon began creeping across the country. Clowns, grotesque figures painted in bright colors, started appearing in the most unexpected places. They emerged from the dark, their smiles stretched too wide, their eyes glinting with something that felt wrong, something that seemed to hunger for fear. It began with fleeting glimpses, reports of lone clowns standing silently at the edges of forests, staring with their heads tilted just slightly, as if amused by some private, twisted joke. Then the sightings grew closer, figures appearing beneath streetlights at 3 a.m., lurking near playgrounds, their bright costumes garish under the moonlight. Witnesses described the feeling of being watched, a chill that ran down the spine when they saw those crimson smiles in the shadows. They never spoke. They simply stared, sometimes holding balloons that bobbed eerily in the night breeze. People reported being chased, the clowns lunging out of the darkness, their laughter shrill and unnatural, echoing through empty streets. The terror spread like wildfire, each new sighting feeding the growing paranoia. By the time October rolled in, the sightings had become a frenzy, a nightmare that blurred the lines between prank and something much more sinister. The clowns were no longer just hiding in the dark. They were approaching homes, tapping on windows, their faces inches from the glass. Their eyes were vacant, their painted grins too wide, and the fear they left in their wake was real, a creeping dread that no one could shake. The clowns eventually disappeared, fading back into the shadows as quickly as they had come, but the unease remained. Now, whenever someone catches a flash of color in the darkness, a hint of red or yellow, they wonder, have the clowns returned?
The golem is a terrifying creature, born of ancient myth, a hulking, lumbering monster created from the very earth itself, carved from clay or rock. The golem is a grotesque, humanoid being, its eyes empty and devoid of soul, its body an unfinished mockery of life. According to the legend, it was brought to life by a powerful sorcerer, an attempt to create a protector from the lifeless material. But the golem's immense power and lack of true intelligence led to something far darker. Though clumsy and slow, the golem is a force to be reckoned with, crushing anything in its path with sheer, brute strength. The term golem in modern Hebrew translates to cocoon, an empty, inert vessel, but it can also mean fool, a fitting title for a its creation. Its slow, lumbering movements turn violent, its heavy feet causing tremors in the earth as it seeks to fulfill its tasks at any cost. Those who have crossed its path tell stories of its relentless pursuit, of a being without mercy, bound only to the will of its creator. But the true horror lies in what happens when the golem's creator is no longer around to control it. The golem becomes a mindless monster, roaming the earth in search of a new master, its rage unstoppable. The Enfield poltergeist is one of the most chilling supernatural events in modern history, a story that still haunts the minds of those who hear it. In the late 1970s, between 1977 and 1979, a council house on 284 Green Street in Enfield, London, became the epicenter of unspeakable terror. Two young sisters, ages 11 and 13, found themselves at the mercy of an unseen force, a malicious spirit that seemed hell-bent on tormenting them. It started with furniture, moving of its own accord, eerie knocks echoing through the walls, and objects levitating with a terrifying, unnatural force. But as the haunting escalated, it grew darker, more violent. The sisters were thrown from their beds, dragged across rooms by invisible hands, and subjected to strange, guttural voices emanating from their own mouths. Voices not their own. Witnesses, including police officers and paranormal investigators, reported witnessing furniture flying across rooms, doors slamming with a force that shook the house to its core. The air was thick with an oppressive energy, as if the very walls were alive with the spirit of something malevolent. For years, the Enfield poltergeist defied explanation, leaving those involved forever changed. Many are convinced that the house at Green Street, the Dover Demon, is a chilling legend that has haunted the small town of Dover, Massachusetts, since the spring of 1977. Over the course of 2 terrifying nights, 3 separate witnesses claimed to encounter a creature so otherworldly was driving down a dark, deserted road. As his headlights pierced the night, they illuminated something that shouldn't exist. Perched on a low stone wall was a creature with skin the color of pale, sickly flesh, stretched taut over its gaunt, spindly frame. Its oversized head was grotesquely round, with glowing orange eyes that burned like smoldering embers. It had no nose, no mouth, just an empty, silent stare that seemed to bore into his very soul. The second encounter happened just hours later. John Baxter, walking home through a wooded path, was startled by a grotesque silhouette in the shadows. The figure moved with a jerking, unnatural gait, its limbs impossibly long and frail. It followed him, closing the distance without a sound, before vanishing into the dark forest. Baxter swore its glowing eyes never wavered from him. The final sighting came from Abby Brabham the next evening. She described a gangly, otherworldly creature crouched near a stream, its elongated fingers clutching at the earth as if searching for something, its gaze locked on her, those unblinking, fiery eyes paralyzing her with an unnatural dread. No tracks, no evidence, no explanation was ever found. Skeptics called it a hoax, but those who saw it still tremble when they recall its stare. Some whisper the creature wasn't of this world, while others fear it still lurks in Dover's shadowy woods, watching, waiting. The Dover demon remains an enigma, a sinister reminder that the unknown might be closer than we think, and it's always watching from the dark. The Fresno night crawlers are a grotesque and unsettling cryptid, a mystery has chilled the bones of those who dare to speak of it. First captured on CCTV footage in Fresno, California, these strange creatures are unlike anything ever seen before. Tall, unnaturally thin, and hauntingly pale, they appear to have long, spindly legs that seem to stretch on forever, their movement unnatural, almost like they glide through the air. The footage, grainy and eerie, shows two of these nightmarish figures moving silently through the darkened streets, their shapes disturbing in their simplicity. They resemble nothing more than a pair of white, tattered pants, walking on their own, with no body, no face, just long, dangling legs that bend and sway with a chilling fluidity. Locals who have ventured into the area where the creatures were spotted report a pervasive, suffocating sense of dread. Some say they feel watched, as though the night crawlers are always just out of sight, lurking in the shadows, waiting for the right moment to reveal themselves again. The sighting of these bizarre beings seems to be a harbinger of something far more sinister, something that cannot be explained by logic or science. Is it an ancient, unseen creature, a twisted interdimensional being, or something more malevolent, biding its time in the dark corners of the world? Whatever the truth, the Fresno night crawlers remain an enigma, a terrifying reminder that some things are best left unexplained. On the evening of September 20th, 1965, the quiet town of Felixstowe, England, became the site of a terrifying encounter with something otherworldly. It was a crisp night when residents witnessed an extraordinary phenomenon that defied explanation, something that would forever haunt the town's history. The air grew thick, and a strange, unnatural glow lit up the sky. What they saw that night was like nothing anyone had ever seen before. A fire demon, an immense, fiery entity, descended from the dark sky. Its flames blazed with an intensity so fierce they cast a hellish red hue across the landscape, turning the streets into a fiery labyrinth. It seemed to drain all warmth from the air. The heat from its flames was unbearable, yet it did not scorch the earth beneath it. And then, as suddenly as it appeared, the fire demon vanished, leaving the townspeople paralyzed with fear and confusion. To this day, no explanation has been found for the sighting. Some say it was a visit from beings beyond the stars. Others claim it was something much darker. But those who saw